How often do we encounter influential people today who present falsehoods as fact? That's precisely what happens in this week's parasha, Shelach, and it may be one of the Torah's most relevant stories for our time. The Torah tells us that 12 tribal leaders were sent to survey the land of Canaan, of Israel. Their mission was not to decide whether the people should enter the land, because that decision had already been made by God. Their task was simple: gather facts, observe the land, assess its inhabitants, bring back reliable information. But 10 of the scouts failed in that mission. Instead of reporting what they saw, they filtered reality through their fears and biases. They told the people that the inhabitants were unconquerable, that the mission was doomed to failure, and that settling the land was impossible. Only 2 scouts refused to join the chorus, Caleb and Joshua. They challenged the narrative that had taken hold and insisted that the land that we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord desires us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us. But Caleb and Joshua were vastly outnumbered, and because the people had no independent access to the facts, they accepted the report of the 10 scouts as the truth. The consequences were devastating. Panic spread throughout the camp. The people lost faith in their mission, despaired of their future, and even began speaking of returning to Egypt. The story of the scouts is not merely an ancient tale. It speaks powerfully to our own moment. Since October 7th, Israel has found itself engaged not only in a military conflict, but in a fierce battle over truth itself. We live in an age of endless social media feeds and competing narratives where falsehoods are often presented as facts, and those who challenge them are frequently dismissed, marginalized, or condemned. In such an environment, the challenge is not merely to be brave, it is to remain committed to truth when falsehood becomes fashionable and personal biases masquerade as moral certainty. Fortunately, there are individuals who have chosen to do exactly that. People such as Richie Torres, Deborah Messing, Noah Tishby, Ben Shapiro, Michael Rappaport, Douglas Murray, Jerry Seinfeld, and many others have been willing to risk popularity, professional relationships, and social standing in order to speak out. They're joined by students, professors, journalists, clergy, and ordinary citizens who have chosen integrity over conformity and principle over convenience. Like Caleb and Joshua, they understand that truth is not determined by majority vote. Claim does not become true simply because it's repeated enough times, nor does a narrative become trustworthy merely because it's endorsed by influential voices. Their example reminds us that courage is not only the willingness to face physical dangers. Sometimes courage means standing alone. Sometimes it means challenging a popular narrative. And sometimes it means simply saying, these are the facts. This is the truth, and I will not be silent. Shabbat Shalom.